time for change has come. For 2 decades, the Air Force has fought hard and fought well against violent extremism. We have dominated in the air, space, and cyberspace. But this fight has come at a cost, and our readiness to fight a peer adversary has suffered. Today's adversaries are challenging us in different ways. To prepare for tomorrow, we must change today and regain our readiness for the future fight.
If we don't get this right together, if we fail to adapt, we risk our national security, our ideals, and the current rules-based international order. But if we do get this right together, if we do adapt, we'll preserve the freedoms we hold most dear.
No longer will we crowdsource airmen who meet for the first time at a deployed location. But instead, we will organize into teams called force elements, allowing us to train together before we fight together. Instead of ad hoc deployment taskings for individual airmen, we are changing to a system of predictability, so we all know in advance when it's time to prepare, what to prepare for, and when it's time to deploy. We will be allowed time to reconstitute, train, and hone our skills to be ready for the toughest future challenges. The change that enables us to do this is the Air Force's new Force Generation model, AFFORGEN. AFFORGEN applies to all active duty, Air National Guard, and Air Force Reserve operational forces. AFFORGEN creates a 24-month cycle divided into 4 6-month phases. Prepare, certify, available to commit, and reset. In the prepare phase, airmen hone their skills with advanced training, focusing on the high-end threat. In the certify phase, airmen maintain peak readiness and participate in exercises to certify they're ready to fight as a team. In the available to commit phase, airmen are called upon to deploy with the teams they have trained and exercised with, responding to the needs of combatant commanders around the world. On the reset phase, airmen return home from deployment and take necessary time to recover, reconnect with their families, and then work on basic individual skills. The key to ensuring we generate forces in a predictable and sustainable way is through our force elements. Instead of deploying a collection of individual airmen who have never worked together until they arrive in theater, we will now organize airmen into standing force elements. These elements will train as a whole and deploy as a whole, all knowing in advance where they fall into the rotational deployment cycle. Operational airmen will be part of a specific force element throughout an assignment. There are 7 force element types: mission generation, open the airbase, command and control, establish the airbase, operate the airbase, robust the airbase, and demand force teams. The basic grouping of force elements the Air Force offers to combatant commanders to run air bases is called an Expeditionary Air Base, or XAB. The XAB consists of a command and control, an establish the airbase, and an operate the airbase force element. The combination of the XAB with mission generation force elements is how the Air Force provides air power to the joint force. Where missions require, robust the airbase and demand force teams are added to the combination for additional capabilities. There are 10 XABs in each of the 4 rotational phases. This makes 40 XABs identified around the total force, each one built from a primary Air Force base and led by their wing commander. The XAB force elements are assembled from within local regions to facilitate co-located training opportunities, C2 integration, and certification opportunities for the tasked mission. Every force element is assigned to a rotational phase. Each 6-month period is labeled Phase A, B, C, or D. Phase A began October 1st, 2022 with the deployment of Mission Generation Force Elements. XAB Force Elements will start to deploy in Phase C beginning in October 2023.
AFFORGEN is about articulating impacts to future readiness and driving strategic discipline, addressing the global demand for Air Force capabilities.
In this new model, every airman will know their AFFORGEN phase and where they fit into these teams, regaining needed predictability and ensuring a high level of combat readiness.
Let there be no doubt. The decision has been made. It is now time to execute.
This is how we prepare for the high-end fight of tomorrow. And this is how we forge unbeatable air power for our nation.